Hey everyone, it's Jason and this is your cruise news update. And 4 crew members have been detained and deported from Port Canaveral. We have some shocking pictures from Cozumel, Mexico, as a Carnival Lifeboat broke loose and fell into the water. And Royal Caribbean may have a bigger issue on their hands when it comes to their water slides. So cruise story number 1, and we have some shocking images from Cozumel, Mexico, as the Carnival Dream was doing some testing on lifeboats. And one of the lifeboats per Carnival Cruise Line, the latch got hung up on a cable and it broke loose, fell into the water. Now, if you've ever been on a cruise, you know when they're in the ports, they do safety drills and tests for our protection. And that's what they were doing, making sure everything was working properly. Well, obviously it wasn't. But what is wild is this picture right here. You see a huge chunk of the lifeboat still connected to the ship. It ripped that fiberglass, I assume it's fiberglass, I believe it is, off of the lifeboat. Those are heavy duty, meant to handle rough conditions. I can't imagine the amount of torque that was put on it. So what happened is Carnival brought it over to the ship and gutted it. Obviously they keep supplies and things like that in there. And then they took it right here, you can see, and basically beached it. Now, a lot of people were concerned because they're like, wait a second, how are they just going to leave a lifeboat on land and not have one? Is there going to be enough lifeboats? And obviously that is a concern that I would have also. But a lot of people don't know that most cruise lines do at least 25% over their maximum capacity. So if the ship is 100% capacity, they do 25% over that. I just checked it. They did leave. They are sailing now, the Carnival Dream, so they must have had enough capacity. So there should be no worries there from a lifeboat standpoint. Have you ever seen anything like this? I have to say, this is pretty shocking, just this image right here, to see a portion of that lifeboat just hanging on to the cruise ship. Let me know your thoughts. So cruise story number 2, and this one's disturbing, as 4 crew members were detained and deported from Port Canaveral. So U.S. Customs and Border Control agents received multiple cyber tips about these 4 crew members. And they conducted a CSEM enforcement operation. And when they did their interviews and they searched their cabin, they found materials that these crew members should not have had. They were processed and they were deported back to their country of origin. So we don't know what cruise ship the crew members were from or the date. All we know, it was out of Port Canaveral. Now I'm going to use this to beg parents, please watch over your children. Know where they're at all times. Don't use the cruise ship as your babysitter. I don't know how many times I have to say this to people. There is bad people on cruise ships. It's unfortunate. Yes, there's a plenty of good people, and there's more good people than bad people. But these cruise ships are small cities. Let's say Icon class ships. They have 10,000 people. Would you leave your kids in a small city of 10,000 people and just let them do whatever they want? I would hope not. Oh, no, you would not. So don't do it on a cruise ship. I can't tell you how many times, 11:30 at night, kids running around. 8, 9, 10 years old. Parents had no clue where they were at. And you wonder how I know that? Because I saw a parent yelling, "Hey kids, where you been?" From like 8 decks up. Remember, 30 minutes to your curfew. He just walks off. 11:30 at night. Just please protect your families. So before I get to cruise story number 3, I would ask that you please like this video and consider subscribing, as it does help the channel grow. If you could do that for me, I'd greatly appreciate it. Thanks so much. So cruise story number 3, and it would seem Royal Caribbean has a much bigger issue on their hands as regard their water slides than what was originally thought. So when the Icon of the Seas had its incident where the clear acrylic broke, a passenger was going through it and was severely injured. They taped it up, they replaced the piece. When we were on the Star of the Seas, they replaced the piece there. You can see it right here. It was fascinating to watch them. Scissor lifts, a little crane. They were doing it while we were in port in St. Thomas. There was hundreds of people watching it. And I appreciate they were proactive. Well, they have taken it a step further. One of the captains on Royal Caribbean said, we are just going to be proactive about this because we're not sure which ones have faulty pieces, basically. So this is on the Navigator of the Seas. And you can see it's over the ocean. That's a little scary to me. And I don't know what these straps are. If that's keeping it in place or what. But obviously they're looking to replace that piece on the Navigator. And then my mind went to, how many providers are there for these acrylic pieces? There can't be that many in the world. And you have Carnival that has these slides, NCL that has the slides, obviously Royal Caribbean, and MSC. Who all is checking those? Are they checking them also? Because they have maybe the same manufacturer? I'm going to tell you, I would never get on one of these water slides anymore. That freaked me out after seeing that on the Icon of the Seas. But not everyone feels that way. I was sitting next to a guy, we were watching them replace it, the piece on the Star of the Seas, and he's like, I'd be first in line. And he goes, and if something happened, well, my family would be taken care of. I'm like, wow, that's an interesting perspective. No way, not me. Will you be more cautious over the water slides moving forward? Let me know in the comments. So I wanted to end this video on something that I thought was absolutely hilarious, that a passenger tried to bring on the Carnival Magic. Now, John Heald is currently on the Carnival Magic, and he reported that the passenger tried to bring a portable play yard with a canopy. And he said they started to set it up on the Lido deck. Yep, they sure did. He said it's absolutely huge. He said, can you imagine everyone else trying to do this? Multiple people putting up a portable play yard. Because somehow they got it through security. And when he said that, I thought, well, that's going to be another thing they're going to add to the prohibited list. You can't bring a play pen or play yard on a cruise ship with a canopy. What's the craziest thing that you've ever seen someone bring on a cruise ship? Let me know in the comments. So I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you again for the continued support. And until I talk to you soon, happy cruising.